Lots of serious stuff to get through. We've got Lizzie on the phone now. Hi, Lizzie.
Hi, Lizzie.
Hi, Lizzie. Hi.
Hi. So you're saying your anxiety goes off the scale when you visit the supermarket?
Yeah, definitely. It's really, well, it's horrible. I think it started when I collapsed in the supermarket. I just want to know really what to do about it because it really stresses me out.
Okay. You're through to the right people.
OK, Lizzie, so would it be right in saying that up until the point of you collapsing in the supermarket that you were perfectly fine going?
Yeah.
You were? OK, and then you collapsed and what happened?
They called an ambulance and it was just, like, so embarrassing.
So the embarrassment was the worst part of it?
Yeah.
OK, I mean, yours is a classic example of how phobias are created. So could I just ask you now, if you think about going into the supermarket right now, if you were to scale that on 0 to 10, 10 being very high anxiety, what would that be?
Oh, my God. 10.
Just thinking about it now.
I'm getting really panicky now, actually.
OK.
OK, well, Liz, before you get too panicky, let's just talk about what actually happened. You see, Eva said it was a classic example. When you are faced in a situation with fear or particularly embarrassment, then you set up a learning that you want to avoid that in the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what you've actually done in that moment, you've told yourself to protect you from supermarkets because essentially in the supermarket you suffered such embarrassment. Now, the thing is, as a result of that, every time you think of going into a supermarket, like you just said, you get anxiety because you don't want to suffer that embarrassment again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, let me ask you, before this event, how many times in your life have you been in the supermarket?
Loads.
Sorry?
Loads.
I'm glad you're laughing when you said that, actually, because ultimately, and you're still laughing, which is great, because what you're doing, you're taking one event where you for whatever reason, you collapsed, and, there can be all sorts of reasons, but because of the embarrassment, you're actually blaming, not the reason why you collapsed, but supermarkets. And what did the supermarket actually do?
Nothing.
Because you were in a supermarket, there were people there who were able to ring for an ambulance, which obviously resulted in you going to hospital and getting better. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, in fact, the fact that you fainted in the supermarket, was that a good thing or a bad thing?
A bad thing, I suppose.
Was it better to be surrounded by people or if you'd have been on your own and distressed and needed help?
No, better to be surrounded by people. Okay. They can help, I suppose.
Correct.
That's right, and that's exactly what happened, because you're in the supermarket, people rang for an ambulance and you're OK. So is it fair to keep blaming supermarkets just because you get embarrassed on that moment?
No.
OK.
But it still makes me really panicky, though, when I can think about it.
OK, and the other thing I'd like to ask you is what actually caused the embarrassment?
Just the fact that loads of people saw me, I suppose.
OK, so what's the chance of you seeing all those same people again when you go into that supermarket?
Or any supermarket?
True.
OK, so what we'd now like to do, Liz, is to consider that you've been blaming supermarkets, and the way that you're going to get over this is by realising that the supermarket was actually faultless. You've been blaming supermarkets for something that they never did. We don't know why you fainted. It might have been that you'd not eaten. It could be a whole host of things. But the moment that you can stop blaming supermarkets and you think about it from a rational perspective, because obviously a phobia is an irrational fear, you will then let that go. So what we'd like you to consider is, what did the supermarket do? The supermarket didn't do anything. It actually wasn't even the supermarket that made you feel embarrassed. It was the other people that were there, and the chances of seeing those very same people in that supermarket or in any supermarket is basically zero. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really good, thank you.
So
You're very
when
welcome.
you think about that now, and we asked you before, think about going to the supermarket.
Does it feel different?
Yeah, a lot, actually.
Does it?
It's not so stressy, if that makes sense.
There it is. There's that moment.
It does make sense. Thanks so much for calling.
Thank you for calling.
Really appreciate
Well
it.
done.
Thank you.
Well done, Izzy.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank
Let's do
you.
another one.